You weren't broke because you didn't earn enough. You were broke because your brain was running income software in a wealth world. Right now, 92% of high earners, doctors, lawyers, executives will die with less than $1 million in net investable assets. Not because they lacked discipline, not because they spent too much, but because they never upgraded their operating system. They believed wealth was the reward for hard work. It's not!
Wealth is the output of a silent, ruthless logic that ignores effort, despises visibility, and compounds in darkness.
And if you're still measuring your worth in salary, bonuses, or hourly rates, you're not building wealth, you're renting your life.
Your salary is not your asset. It is your leash. And right now, you are being paid to stay blind to that fact. Picture this. A surgeon earning $800,000 a year. Every procedure is billed by the minute. Every vacation is unpaid. Every illness is a loss. His income screams success, but his net worth creeps forward like a shadow at noon. Now picture a logistics operator in Ohio. She owns 3 automated warehouses. No social media. No personal brand. Her name appears on no masthead. Yet her systems move goods for Fortune 500 clients, while she walks her dog at 3 feet. Same economy, opposite realities. This is not about hustle. It is about cognitive architecture. Neuroscience shows something brutal. When your brain links survival to active effort, it suppresses long-term planning. The amygdala stays lit. The prefrontal cortex, seat of strategic foresight, gets deprioritized. You become brilliant at reacting and blind to designing. That is why 89% of 6-figure earners live paycheck to paycheck in psychological terms. Even with savings, their nervous system never left the time for money loop. Income thinking does not just pay you, it conditions you. It teaches you to value visibility over structure, activity over leverage, and urgency over optionality. You optimize your ARSM while someone else quietly owns the platform your ARSM depends on. And here is the quiet tragedy. You feel accomplished, but you are not compounding. Because true wealth is not measured in what you earn this quarter. It is measured in how little you need to do next decade to maintain or grow your position. The real cost of your salary is not taxes. It is the illusion that you are building something. And once you see that trap, you will start noticing it everywhere. In job offers that pay well, in side hustles that demand your presence, in opportunities that trade your irreplaceable hours for replaceable cash. But there is a way out, not by working harder, but by shifting where value is created. From your time to your design, which brings us to the next layer, because effort scales linearly, but decisions, they scale forever. You do not need more hours. You need fewer, better decisions. Imagine 2 founders. One fills his day with calls, revisions, and urgent fires, each task executed flawlessly. His team admires his stamina. His inbox is a war zone he wins daily. The other spends Tuesday morning alone in a soundproof room. He makes 3 decisions: which market to ignore, which partner to cut, which product to kill. Then he disappears for the week. By Friday, the first founder is exhausted. The second, his company just unlocked $4 in hidden margin, without a single new hire. That is not magic. It is decision leverage. Labor leverage scales like stairs. 1 step, 1 unit of output. Decision leverage scales like gravity. 1 choice bends the trajectory of everything that follows. And neuroscience confirms it. Elite performers do not have more willpower. They have fewer open loops. A study from MIT's Neuroeconomics Lab found that top-tier executives spend 73% less time on execution, for 3.2 times more time designing decision filters that auto-eliminate noise. They do not ask, "How do I get this done?" They ask, "How do I ensure this never needs doing again?" Her calendar is not full of work. It is full of decisions you refuse to make once and for all. Every recurring meeting, every quick sync, every approval bottleneck. That's not productivity. That is deferred architecture. Income thinkers pride themselves on responsiveness. Wealth thinkers build systems so precise they become invisible. And here is the quiet power move. When you stop optimizing tasks and start engineering choices, your value stops being measured in output and starts being priced in ownership. Because effort is rented, but judgment is owned. Once you shift from labor to decision leverage, you will realize the real game was not about working smarter. It was about making the right call, so no one else ever has to. Wealth does not ask how much you earn. It asks, who owns the game? Picture a concert hall. On stage, the violinist, brilliant, rehearsed, irreplaceable for that night. The audience applauds. He gets paid. Backstage, the owner of the venue. He did not play a note. He did not take a bow. But every ticket sold flows through his system. Rain or shine, hit or miss, the violinist is valued. The owner is free. This is not about fairness. It is about architecture. And here is what no one tells you. The top 1% do not outwork you. They outstructure you. A Federal Reserve study tracked 10 high-income professionals over 15 years. Those with equity ownership, even in small private businesses, accumulated 8.4 times more net worth than peers with identical incomes but zero ownership stakes. Not because they saved more, because their assets worked while they slept, negotiated, or vanished. Income thinkers see opportunity and ask, how can I contribute? Wealth thinkers see the same opportunity and ask, who controls the bottleneck? That single question rewires your brain. It activates what neuroscientists call latent opportunity detection, pattern recognition skills suppressed in employee mode, but sharpened in builder mode. You were not excluded from wealth. You were trained to ignore the door that was not labeled salary. Every time you accepted a bonus instead of equity, a title instead of IP, a project instead of a stake, G reinforced participation, not ownership, and participation evaporates. Ownership compounds in silence, in darkness, in legal documents no one sees. Here is the shift. Once you develop the ownership reflex, you stop looking for roles. You start mapping control points, and that changes everything. Because money follows control, not effort, not loyalty, not even brilliance, control. And once you see where it lives, you will never again confuse being essential with being free. Your bank account is not behind. Your attention portfolio is. Imagine two investors. One checks stock prices hourly, reacting, adjusting, chasing the dopamine hit of movement. His returns? Flatline 4 years. The other spends 3 weeks studying one obscure regulatory shift in clean energy. Then he places a single bet. No updates, no noise. 2 years later, that insight unlocks a 17 times return. Same market, opposite minds. Because wealth is not just money compounding, it is attention compounding. And your brain is either building equity in deep domains or burning calories on distraction dividends. Neuroscience reveals a brutal asymmetry. Every time you shift focus to a shallow reward, email, notification, trending topic, should trigger a micro withdrawal from your cognitive capital. A University of California study found that knowledge workers switch tasks every 3 minutes on average. The cost? It takes 23 minutes to fully re-engage with deep work. You are not busy. You are fragmented. Income thinkers chase visible outputs, likes, replies, closed tickets. Wealth thinkers invest invisible attention into asymmetric knowledge, relationships that unlock doors, mental models that predict shifts, systems no one sees but everyone depends on. They know something you have been conditioned to forget. Attention is the seed corn of leverage. Planted in fertile soil, deep reading, strategic silence, selective relationships, and it grows into optionality. Scatter it on concrete, endless feeds, reactive communication, performance theater, and it dies before dawn. Your calendar may look full, but your attention ledger, it is underwater. And here is the quiet truth. The next decade of your life will not be shaped by how hard you work, but by what you refuse to look at. Because while the world scrolls, the elite study. While others perform, they prepare. And that gap between scattered attention and compounded focus is where silent fortunes are built. Which means the real question is not, how do I earn more? It is, what am I willing to ignore forever? Because your future is not funded by effort. It is funded by what you choose not to see. If your strategy needs applause, it is already leaking value. Watch how nature builds strength. The oak does not announce its growth. The glacier does not live stream its advance. The deep ocean current moves continents without a single ripple on the surface. Now watch the modern professional, posting milestones before they are real, broadcasting effort as proof of worth, turning strategy into content before it is even stress tested. Visibility is not validation. It is vulnerability. Because every time you reveal your method, you invite extraction. Competitors copy. Platforms commodify. Audiences demand repetition. What was once asymmetric becomes obvious. And obvious has no margin. A Harvard study tracked 1-200 private investment firms over a decade. Those that operated with zero public presence generated 3-6 times higher risk-adjusted returns than peers who engaged in media, conferences, or personal branding. Not because they were smarter, because they were not distracted by performance. Income thinkers equate silence with irrelevance. Wealth thinkers know silence is the only environment where true compounding can occur, undisturbed by opinion, expectation, or imitation. They do not hide. They simply refuse to feed the noise layer. And here is what the algorithm will not tell you. The top 1% are not invisible. They are uninteresting to the attention economy. No hot takes, no motivational reels, no day in the life tours of their discipline. Just systems running in the dark, generating returns while the world chases clout, who were taught that visibility equals opportunity. But in reality, visibility equals competition. And silence equals optionality. Because when no one knows what you are building, no one can stop you. And once you stop performing for the crowd, you will finally have the cognitive space to build something that lasts longer than a trend, which leads to the final truth. Freedom is not retiring from the game. It is designing a game so quiet, no one even knows you are playing. You do not need an exit plan. You need an entry point into the system that prints the rules. Picture two men dreaming of freedom. One saves for 20 years, counting vacation days, like prison credits, waiting for the golden handshake, the exit from his job. The other never quits. He simply stops needing permission. By owning a small slice of infrastructure, a licensing agreement, a distribution node, a proprietary workflow, he turns his role into a relay station for passive control. He shows up less, earns more, answers to no one. Freedom was not granted. It was engineered. And here is the illusion you have been sold, that autonomy comes from leaving the game. But real autonomy comes from rewriting your position in it. A Stanford longitudinal study tracked high performers across industries for 18 years. Those who achieved true time sovereignty did not do it through retirement savings or side hustles. They did it by embedding themselves in control layers, not as employees, but as silent architects of value flow. Their income did not stop when they stepped back. It accelerated, because they did not trade time. They owned interfaces. Income thinkers see freedom as escape. A beach, a cabin, a final paycheck. Wealth thinkers see freedom as irrelevance. No boss can reach them, no market shift destabilizes them, no approval is required for their next move. They do not retire. They become unnecessary to the transaction, and that is the ultimate leverage. You were taught to dream of quitting, but the elite never quit. They just make quitting irrelevant. And once you realize that, you stop planning your escape. You start designing your dominion, because the goal is not to leave the machine. It is to own a piece of the blueprint so quietly, so completely, that no one even notices you are in charge. You were not broke because you did not work hard enough. You were broke because you played the wrong game, trading time for money, effort for validation, visibility for value. Income thinking keeps you busy. Wealth thinking makes you free. It is not about earning more. It is about owning the layer beneath the noise, where decisions compound, attention accrues, and silence becomes your greatest asset. But here is what no one tells you. Mastering this shift is not a financial move. It is a psychological one. Because playing the long game, truly playing it, requires rewiring your brain to resist instant feedback, social proof, and the dopamine of being seen. And that is not discipline. That is a skill. One we will dissect next. Why playing the long game is a psychological skill, and how the top 1% train their nervous systems to delay gratification while the world burns through its attention capital. If you have ever felt trapped by your own productivity, if you have built everything except real freedom, you are not late. You are just waking up. And this is where your quiet power begins.